guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel, Mastering the Wedding Photography Biz.
I'm Hunter.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we have literally opened up our camera bags and are going to be sharing with you everything that we bring with us to photograph high-end weddings.
So not only are we going to talk about like the cameras and lenses that we use, but we are also going to share about all of the other essential items that we bring with us to help us photograph our weddings. So let's jump in.
So we're going to start with the most basic and foundational, which are our camera bodies and our lenses. And so Sarah and I are Nikon shooters, but even if you don't shoot Nikon, just seeing what kinds and types of cameras and lenses we shoot with can still be helpful, as we're pretty confident that just about everything that we have, there is probably a Canon or a Sony equivalent of it.
So first, let's talk about camera bodies. So Hunter and I both shoot with Nikon Z6 II full frame mirrorless cameras. This is Nikon's second generation mirrorless camera, and it is a professional body, but it is two kind of like stops below the flagship.
Which we felt like the one and the two above were just not really necessary.
We don't really need that. So we began our career on DSLRs, but we just love shooting with mirrorless cameras.
Now, by the way, if you want to know why we made the switch from DSLR to mirrorless after years of shooting with mirrorless, we have a whole video that we posted just a few months ago that is literally all about that, and link is up here. But Sarah and I each have two full-frame mirrorless cameras, and so I typically shoot a wedding day with both of them at all times, whereas Sarah usually shoots with just one, but at certain points in the day we'll pick up the second. But we sort of mostly think about our fourth camera body, which is one generation older, the Z6. We sort of think about it more as just the backup. But even if you are a solo shooter, we would still recommend that you have one lead camera body that you use all the time and a second that you at least keep in your camera bag as a backup. If not, just keep on you at all times like I typically shoot.
Yeah. The next thing that we have in our camera bag is naturally our lenses, and boy oh boy do we have a lot of them. We typically have 8 lenses with us on a wedding day.
However, don't let that discourage you if you are just getting started. Hopefully it will be helpful and encouraging to you to hear that our prime lenses, which were some of the very first lenses that we purchased, are still the ones that we will shoot the majority of a wedding day with. And if we could only choose one lens each to shoot basically a whole wedding day with, we would probably each grab our favorite prime lens and leave everything else in the camera bag.
Yeah, so I shoot close to like 80%, maybe more, of a wedding day with my 50mm 1.2 prime lens, and Hunter shoots close to like 70% of a wedding day with an 85mm 1.4 on one camera and then a 35mm 1.8 on the other.
Now, if you want to know how we arrived at this particular combination of 3 prime lenses, and how basically each produces different imagery, then you should check out this video, which is part 1 in a series we did last year called Camera Bag Essentials. Now, this video in particular, which is number 1, like I said, are about these 3 most common focal lengths, the 3 most common types of prime lenses, and really all about helping photographers figure out which one makes the most sense for them. So use this link up here to check that out.
Yeah, and that link, by the way, will bring you to the start of an entire playlist where each video is dedicated to just like one of the lenses that we actually talk about. So check that out if you want a more in-depth explanation into any of our gear.
But like we said a moment ago, if you are just getting ready to shoot your first wedding maybe, and all you've got is a prime lens or 2, then that's a great place to start, and there's nothing wrong with that. But once you've started to book more weddings and can afford to really upgrade and continue growing your kit, a zoom lens or maybe 2 is probably next. And so we always keep a 24-70 as well as the beast, the 70-200, in our camera bags. Now, these especially come in handy for wider, big group shots, like if we're doing wedding party or family, or if our subject is moving quickly down the aisle, like, during the ceremony. And then the 70-200 usually is mostly really just the ceremony is what we use it for. But when you walk into a church and it is really, really big and you are not allowed to get close to the front, having a long zoom lens will totally change the way that you shoot that wedding.
Now, the other 2 lenses that we have with us on wedding days are ones that are more of a luxury. They are expensive and they have pretty limited use, so we don't think that they should be high on the priority list of any like newer wedding photographer. But if you can afford a macro lens for tight detail shots or like an ultra wide lens for those extra tight spaces where you do actually need them, you will be really glad that you have those.
And finally, we do want to just like really, really quickly mention that in addition to all of this digital photography equipment, we also have a couple of film cameras as well as their lenses, extra film, a light meter, things that we use to do film photography. But we know most of our audience are exclusively digital photographers. A lot of wedding photographers are when they get started, and sometimes for their whole career. And so we're not really going to talk any more about film equipment.
While our camera bodies and lenses are the most important items in our camera bags, they are still far from, like, we are done. We are far from being done talking about what we carry with us on a wedding day. The next essential item are our flashes.
Now, we, like we've mentioned, have 3 camera bodies that we are, in all likelihood, pretty much shooting with at all points during the day. And so because of that, we wanted to make sure that we had 3 full-size flagship flashes that we use. And then we also have, again, an older one that is sort of our 4th and our backup in case something should happen to one of the 3 and we still needed it. But again, if you are just getting started, a flash really is essential for reception photography and especially dancing photos. So having at least one, and ideally one plus a backup in your camera bag, is a great place to start for any newer wedding photographer.
And then in addition to the flashes themselves, we also keep plenty of extra AA batteries, and Hunter even has an external battery pack that he wears sometimes.
Now, this will actually plug right into the front of my lens, and then this and the back will strap right to my camera straps or maybe to my belt. And while our flashes take 4 AA batteries, this has another 12 batteries inside of it. And so basically it's like it's quadrupling the amount of power that is powering my flash. And while yes, that would quadruple the number of flashes that I can do, or i.e., I can use it 3 times as long. Really, the reason I have this is because sometimes when we are doing something like, slow sync images with a slow shutter speed, or like some direct flash portraits during the reception with a really high flash output, really what this does is it makes the recycle time faster, i.e., I can just flash more at higher power without having to wait for my flash to recycle. And so when you're doing something that requires that, this guy makes a big difference.
Yeah. So another thing that we keep in our camera bag is our dual harness camera straps, as well as these storm jacket rain covers. Obviously, if we are going to shoot with 2 cameras, we need a harness that can hold 2 bodies. We actually keep it in our trunk because we're lazy and don't like to carry things. But even when I'm shooting with 1 camera, that strap is going to distribute the weight across my shoulders rather than like across just the back of my neck or across one shoulder. It really just evenly distributes that weight.
And these rain covers, by the way, have really saved our lives on just gross, nasty wedding days. Because the thing is, if the weather turns, sometimes you still need to be out shooting something. And so anytime, we will keep these attached onto our camera straps or in our pockets. And it is basically like a raincoat for your entire camera. So as you can see, you poke through on one end so that your lens can still see out, on the other end so you can still look through the viewfinder, and you can just keep shooting right along. By the way, we have a video called Everything You Need to Protect Your Camera Gear, which you can access using this link. In that, we talk about not only the camera straps, not only the rain flies, not only the camera bags themselves, but a couple other important things.
Now, finally, in addition to all of those items, there are a few smaller things that actually really make a big difference for us on a wedding day.
And so for starters, obviously we're going to keep a lot of extra camera batteries, as well as extra memory cards, as well as a memory card carrying case, just really to keep it all organized so we can have lots of different cards on us at all times. Now, if you've seen our video on backup for wedding photographers, which again, link is up here, you know that we don't format or like wipe clean a memory card until everything on it has been culled, edited, and delivered to our clients. And so what that means is if it takes us, 6 to 8 weeks to deliver a wedding, and our wedding season is 6 or 8 weeks long, we basically need to own enough memory cards that we can shoot an entire fall season or entire spring season without deleting anything. And so when you have that many cards, you really need something to keep it organized.
And a quick hark back to batteries. We also keep a AA battery charger, as well as a camera battery charger in our bag. But to kind of skip back to backup, Hunter and I like to use the quiet moments on a wedding day, like it's usually during dinner when our couple's actually eating, to back up everything that we photographed so far from the day onto our computer. That way, if something were to happen to our camera bodies or our memory cards kind of during the later part of the evening,
which is when everyone is drinking and drinks inevitably get spilled on us, if something were to happen and that were to fry one of our cameras, God forbid.
Mm-hmm. I've had many drinks spilled on me.
Yeah, so far no camera explosions, but lots of drinks spilled on us.
But by backing up the images, we still have some of the more important parts of the day backed up. But this obviously means that a laptop as well as a card reader need to be in our bag.
Now, we also have things like a multi-tool and like a roll of electrical tape in our bags, just in case, some last minute repair needs to happen. I mean, you just like never really know when you might need a screwdriver or a blade or just a few pieces of tape.
Yeah, and kind of along those same lines, but in the wardrobe side, we also keep a sewing kit, lots of safety pins, tied to go pen, and a lint roller as well. It's been a few years since I had to sew a bridesmaid back into her dress when the zipper broke.
True story.
But you never know when you might need an opportunity to like have that on hand and just keep the day moving on time.
And finally, really just for our like own long-term protection, we do keep some of these decibel reducing earplugs in our bags. Now we can still hear people talk to us, we can still hear the music. It just sort of brings the noise level down a little bit because we do know a professional photographer who has had hearing aids since he was in his 40s because he blew out his eardrums photographing concerts and we figure we stand right in front of DJ speakers for hours every single weekend. And so something like this maybe seems kind of minor, but we really enjoy these. Plus, we have fewer headaches the days after weddings.
Yeah, and we've had some of our students tell us that they've bought these and worn them to concerts and other things, and it's helped them in those aspects as well. So,
and to be clear, they're reusable. So, it's not like we're doing
Yeah.
Buying $30 earplugs for every single wedding.
Yeah. The other thing that we also keep is a thing of mace or pepper spray in our camera bag. Ever since we heard about a string of wedding photographers being robbed during wedding days, because I guess people finally figured out that we carry a lot of expensive gear, we've kind of kept this in the side pocket where it can be easily reached. Hopefully we never have to use it, but especially for all of our single female wedding photographers out there, it can't hurt to bring it along.
And again, one more time, just to keep giving you more videos to watch, we have spoken a bit more extensively about some of these smaller items as well as a bunch others in a video we posted last year called 10 Essential Wedding Photography Accessories You Didn't Know You Needed. Link is also up here.
That is finally it for this week.
Guys, thank you for watching. If you want more great content like this, we would really love it if you would subscribe to our 4 Photographers newsletter.
When you sign up, we are going to send you a copy of our ebook, 5 Essential Tips for Turning Your Side Hustle into a Full-Time Photography Business, just as a free gift to you.
If you're interested in that, link is in the description. And please like, subscribe, comment, all of those good things to help other people continue to find our videos.
Until next time.
See you guys.